To improve your TOEFL speaking fluency, you must reduce pausing, and I have some crazy data to show you. On my speaking score, we use ETS's SpeechRater scoring engine to feed back two types of pausing: pause frequency and distribution of pauses. Pause frequency measures the number of pauses within a speech segment. And yes, natural pauses are desirable and necessary for clarity. Fewer pauses, though, usually suggest smoother speech. Distribution of pauses measures where pauses occur in the speech. Ideally, pauses should be strategically placed at natural breaks, such as between sentences or ideas, rather than in the middle of phrases. Let me illustrate this with an example, a stock transition phrase from task 2. The man opposes the university's plan. Now, there are lots of ways to deliver this phrase. You could say,
the man opposes the university's plan.
Really emphasize the verb and the man's opposition to the plan. Alternatively, you could say,
the man opposes the university's plan.
By pausing after the verb and stressing the university, you're implying that the man is evaluating more than one plan and is only opposed to the university's plan, right? But ideally, in TOEFL speaking, you wouldn't pause at all here, right? You would just say,
the man opposes the university's plan.
Now, your choices become exponentially greater as you lengthen the sentence. For example, maybe you have this in your template.
The man in the conversation strongly opposes the university's ridiculous plan for two specific reasons that he describes to the woman.
No pauses. That's fluent. It's beautiful. However, it's also acceptable to say,
the man in the conversation strongly opposes the university's ridiculous plan for two specific reasons that he describes to the woman.
Okay, slight pause there after plan. But what would happen if we add more pauses? Well, let's find out.
The man in the conversation strongly opposes the university's ridiculous plan for two specific reasons that he describes to the woman.
To discover if SpeechRater will penalize these pauses, let's create a TOEFL speaking response with an experimental sentence.
An article in the campus newspaper argues the university should build a new parking lot near the humanities building. The author claims that there are few available spots there now, and there is plenty of space for parking behind the building. The man in the conversation strongly opposes the university's ridiculous plan for two specific reasons that he describes to the woman. First,
okay, we'll get that one scored. Then we'll re-record it and rescore it with the clunky transition phrase. Here's what the phrase sounds like.
The man in the conversation strongly opposes the university's ridiculous plan for two specific reasons that he describes to the woman. First, the man claims that parking in front of the humanities building is not the only option. He thinks the author is conveniently forgetting that.
Can one disfluent sentence ruin your whole response? No. Look at the data. You can see the pausing in the waveform here, but there's only a tiny difference in the SpeechRater scores, and at this level of granularity, the variations are not enough to change the TOEFL speaking score, even though the pausing added 2 full seconds to the response. This is a good thing. It means that SpeechRater is fair and you're not being unreasonably penalized for occasional disfluencies. But what happens if your pausing is excessive? Well, the AI picks up on it and it does penalize you. To demonstrate, I inserted 9 additional pauses to create a total of 13 unnatural pauses. This is about 1 incorrect pause for every 10 words of speech. Here's where I inserted the pauses.
An article in the campus newspaper argues the university should build a new parking lot near the humanities building. The author claims that there are few available spots there now.
These pauses added 11 seconds to the response delivery time, so the response is predictably shorter, 27 words shorter to be precise, effectively deleting the support for the man's second point, which creates other problems. But let's stay focused on the fluency, okay? Specifically under the delivery construct. Here are the results. overall SpeechRater score of 3.26. This represents a dramatic 3-point slide in overall TOEFL speaking score compared to the Fluent original. Look at these fluency metrics. Pause frequency from 98 to 61. Distribution of pauses from 99 to 59. And here's the kicker. Pausing impacts other dimensions too, notably sustained speech and speaking rate. And as I said, not only delivery dimensions are impacted here. Almost everything takes a dive. Look at this. Grammatical complexity takes a major hit, decreasing from 95 to 57. For precision performance, you need a precision tool because you can only manage it if you can measure it. Get yourself the facts you need about your TOEFL speaking performance so you can make the changes you need and avoid point loss scenarios like this one.